We are live. Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Michael, aka the Treklad, and welcome to our very special Star Trek Discovery Season 3 preview. We are going to be unpacking details from the most recent trailer that debuted at the Star Trek Day panel show, and we are going to be talking about our hopes and expectations for the third season of this show. Usually, Star Trek shows get off to a bit of a slow start and then eventually grow the beard. We're hoping that's going to be the case with Star Trek Discovery. Here to join me and to talk through this upcoming show, which premieres on the 15th of October. Don't forget to mark your diaries. That's for you guys in the USA. For us in the UK, it is the day afterwards. So we do have confirmation that there will be international distribution for Star Trek Discovery. Thank the makers. I know that's quoting the other franchise, so that's the only time I will do that. Before I do welcome my guest, I do want to say hello to all of you who are watching this live. Hello to Earl Grey Trekkie 1701. Hello to Zach. Hello to Old Shark. Hello to His Lush. Hello to Brian. Hello to Becky. And hello to Jill 47, who has just greeted me. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And to Corinne. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Let us know what your hopes and expectations are for Star Trek Discovery. We're aiming to go about an hour, but the thing is, me and Dan, we can meander a little bit. So if we do go over, then we're just going to go over. There's no particular structure to this. And for anybody that's asking questions, Zach, where did we get any new info? We don't have any new info. So just to dispel any rumors there, this channel isn't for breaking news, and the Commodore, gets all of his news from me anyway, so it's all totally fine. Before we do get going, though, and before I do welcome in Dan, just a quick spoiler warning for anybody who has not caught up with Star Trek Discovery. We are probably accidentally going to spoil things. We will probably be revealing the things that happened at the end of Season 2, because naturally, that's how we get to Season 3. So if you have not seen Star Trek Discovery Season 2, or if you haven't caught up, go and do that. Go and sort that out. This will be available on replay. And if you are watching this on replay, hello, let us know what your hopes and expectations are for Discovery Season 3 in the comments below. If you are watching this live, if you could do me a huge, massive favor, and if you can, like this stream, because that's great for the algorithm. And if you fancy giving it a cheeky share so we can get everybody into this live stream, it would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Right. That's all the plugs, and that's me talking away. Let's get him in. You know him as the Commodore. I know him as Dan, and also the Commodore as well. He's a top guy. Dan, how you doing, buddy?
Whoa. Hey. What's up, everyone? Live long and prosper. Howdy.
Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper, indeed. Don't usually say that at the end. Don't you usually start with like peace?
Well, it's a greeting. It's I always wish you long life and prosperity, Michael.
Thanks so much. And that's something that we extend to all of our wonderful guests at this time.
Yeah, look at that crew.
Thank you. It's a good crew. It's just it's a fine crew. We got Coco in as well. We might have to fight about that, though. Not sure.
Fisticuffs it is.
Not sure what's going on there. Right. Okay. So before we do get into this, how you doing, Dan? You all right?
Man, I'm doing great. I got a fancy new boom arm for my podcast microphone here, so I'm totally legit and professional now.
Just protecting the mic from spittle.
Yep, I got a little pop filter and everything.
It happens all the time with me, because I do have a pop filter, but I don't like to use it because I don't want like a massive source in front of my face. I might do it at some point, but when I get to the end of every stream, I have to like get a little duster and just like wipe over the mic, because it gets it's disgusting. It is disgusting. I've done too many of these now, and it's revolting now. Right. Before we do get into this, look, you know me. I'm all about Trek positivity. I'm all about having a good time. Star Trek and good vibes. It's going on a t-shirt. That's what I'm all about. Absolutely. But I just want to raise some concerns with the marketing of this show, specifically Season 3. Do you know how long it took me to find a trailer, the most recent trailer for Season 3?
Yeah, because I'm looking for it.
Yeah, couldn't find one. Couldn't find an official one. I eventually found one from a channel called SF Axis. Thank you very much, guys. Shout out to you.
Boom.
I couldn't. So there was no sign of the trailer on the CBS All Access official YouTube channel. There was no sign of the trailer on the Netflix channel, which in the US kind of makes sense, I guess. But there was no sign of the trailer on the UK Netflix YouTube account, which is really strange because this show is weeks away from landing. Surely you'd want to have that trailer out there for views. But it's not, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it. This show they should be pushing this show everywhere, surely. I haven't seen, I'm not even seeing articles about this show on the internet, with the exception of the people that are just moaning about it. The typical publications that you would expect to see, interviews with cast and crew and background information. I'm not seeing any of it. The only stuff I could find were the constantly kind of updated, what you need to know about Star Trek Discovery Season 3. Dan, why do you think we're not seeing a lot of that at the moment?
I really, it's hard to say. It's not like, the fandom is a lock for Discovery, especially season 3. I'm excited. I think a lot of the folks we know are excited. Real quick shout out to Old Shark there. I thought we were going to get shelved for the British baking show, but apparently he's able to make it into the chat, so that's nice. Yeah, it is bizarre. It looks like we might be doing more for them than they are themselves, but it's a fantastic trailer. Grudge Cat kind of made a huge splash. Everybody's excited about the cat, which is pretty cool because we all love cats. And but yeah, I did a search here using the Google machine, and it came back with everything relevant for what you were asking. I don't know what the difference would be between here and there, but I got all the information about Netflix or Discovery on Netflix, which is only relative to you, things like that. So, but yeah, it seems to be, we're not hearing a whole lot, they're not even promoting, it seems like, through the Twitter account, things like that. So
I would find that concerning. I would find that concerning. Weird. That would strike me as a show that there isn't much internal support behind, and without sounding like those other guys, there is no smoke without fire, and what I'm seeing is a bit of smoke here, and it's concerning. Obviously we had the Star Trek Day panels, which was good, but that's going to cater to the people that are already going to watch Discovery no matter what. Now, what they need to be pushing is the fact that, all right, Star Trek Discovery, this is the 3rd season. However, we're shifting gears. We're moving this into an entirely new realm of storytelling. It's a new era for the show. We're introducing new characters that you're going to care about. And I'm seeing none of that. I'm seeing no attempts to try and capture new viewers, which is going to be, the lifeblood of carrying this franchise forward. There are, the Star Trek fans, we're part of that wonderful group, are going to be there week in, week out. But there needs to be this continuous injection of new fandom into this community. And, that the absence of easy to find trailers and third-party publication material is concerning. But, we are still a few weeks away, I guess. Maybe they're looking to intensify it after the conclusion of Lower Decks. Perhaps this 23 weeks of Trek was maybe a mistake. Maybe
just to jam it all in there.
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe they needed to finish Lower Decks in the summer, then breathe, or finish Lower Decks when it finishes in a couple of weeks, and then start this in later, maybe late November. I'm not sure when The Walking Dead usually returns. It's usually October time, isn't it? So October, like mid-October, is usually a good time to start. It's like full TV, isn't it?
Right.
But I don't know. It's a worry. The reason why I've gone into this rant is because what I wanted to do is I wanted to actually, as we went into this stream, start playing the trailer, because I've actually. Shut up, Siri. I've finally been able to get sound on these live streams. However, I kind of thought, if I kick off the live stream by showing the Star Trek Discovery Season 3 trailer, CBS are going to pull this. It. There's, even if we do the free publicity for them, they're just going to pull this. So I'm not going to tempt fate. However, what I am going to do, though, as we do get into our Season 3 preview, I'm going to basically pull up the trailer, and we can kind of like still, go through stills basically, and go through it like that, and talk about the things that we saw and the things that we are looking forward to. I've already seen here that Becky is looking forward to Grudge Cat. I am also looking forward to Grudge Cat. Any animals and cats in Star Trek is absolutely
big win.
Yeah. So Zach, just to confirm, Disco's most recent trailer, if you go to YouTube, it doesn't appear. So, I didn't do a Google search, but I shouldn't have to. If I go to YouTube, I should be able to find the video. So, yeah. But if you can find it, fantastic. We found it through other means. Right. Before we do get into that preview, let's talk about our thoughts and feelings on Discovery so far. We've had 2 full seasons of Discovery. Most people know how I feel about it, and we'll do a recap. But Dan, what were your thoughts on the show's first 2 seasons?
So as I've gone back, I've watched, I think I've watched season 1 maybe 2 or 3 times here and there in bits, and season 2 maybe about as much, to the point now that I go and I pick episodes that I want to see, even though it's, highly serialized. Season 1 on rewatch, it was always frustrating that there were these people on the bridge, and there were these people who were always on the bridge, and you never really knew their name, and you didn't know much about them, but sometimes they were in the mess hall. And that was always very frustrating. It was one of the things that kind of reset the tone when Pike steps on and wants everybody to introduce themselves, because he's us at that moment. And I've been waiting for that opportunity to get to know those people, and they were used much more, to much better effect in season 2, which I think, if you're a Discovery fan on any level, season 2 beats season 1, up one side and down the other, as we say around here. And it's not even a close contest. That doesn't mean season 1 is bad. And, I like some of what they did with the Mirror Universe, and it's always fun to visit that. But, half a season of it was a little much. And then in season 2, literally the search for Spock part 1, I guess, or 0.5 it might be. But I really did love the relationship between Michael and Spock that played out. And we talked about that on Nimbus 3, where, the correlation between myself and my sister, and him and Michael, and Spock's revelation that he has dyslexia. And so, that brought a real personal touch to season 2 for me. So I'm excited about the break from, putting it so far forward that they're not 2 timelines, but the 2 parts of the same timeline don't have to really affect one another. There's opportunity still to tie it together, but we're 900 years from where we've ever been, and I think it's a great opportunity to tell a really interesting story.
I do think that the moving 900 years into the future is going to be good for the show, which we will get into. I agree with what you said, really, that season 2 was a marked improvement over season 1. It's not uncommon knowledge. It's fairly known that I have struggled with this show. My initial thoughts were that it was okay. I quite dug the first 2 episodes of season 1. I thought it was quite promising. I liked the new mature direction. I didn't really have a problem with that. Until I guess I did. until I guess we get to episode 3, where I was kind of like, some of the behavior on the ship was a little kind of weird. The way Starfleet operated was strange. I appreciate that it was kind of wartime Starfleet, and it would be a bit of a different vibe in the organization. Really, full candor here is absolute candor, is I had a problem with Michael Burnham as a character. I simply just didn't like her. I didn't find her to be a particularly likable character, and completely deserved to be hauled in front of Starfleet Command and court-martialed and sent to prison for the rest of her life. Didn't act very professionally, and was responsible for a lot of mess. I will say this. The other thing that happened with me as well is, as I continue to watch the show, season 1, I actually warmed to it on first viewing. I quite liked what they were attempting to do with the Klingon War, but then they did this mirror universe switch up, which I didn't like at all. I didn't buy it. I never bought the Lorca was a mirror universe version for a second, because he acted... he was shady. He was always a shady, kind of on the edge War Master character. But in terms of the characters from the Mirror Universe that we'd seen historically, they were all literally dialed up to 11 and snap the knob off, lunatics and psychopaths. And Lorca, appreciate he was pretending, but it seemed a very natural thing for him to be quite accommodating, quite a decent, kind of leader of a crew. Rescued Ash Tyler. He didn't know he was a Klingon, and was kind of very, very supportive. Didn't really seem to me to be like Mirror Universe qualities at all. So whenever they say, "Oh, we always knew that Lorca was from the Mirror Universe," I always kind of call a little bit of BS on that, because they're going to say that, and the person that's really going to hammer that home is the actor that played him, because he doesn't want to turn around and say, "Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing." It's not a good look. It's not a good look for anybody. But with regards to not having a full introduction to the crew, that also bothered me as well, because I've always enjoyed Star Trek as an ensemble, getting to know the crew. But it was quite apparent the season 1 anyway was very much Burnham's story. I mean, season 2 was Burnham's story as well. But in season 2, and you touched upon it, there was this feeling that the people that were running the show were very receptive to feedback, and they took the necessary steps to make some small course corrections that did help the show. Being, the first thing, as soon as Pike steps off that transporter pad, okay, who am I working with? Introduce yourself, please. You appreciate that you're slightly all a little bit bruised because you were working under a man who turned out to be a space Nazi, as it eventually turned out to be. So yeah, I really, really like that. And yeah, season 2 was a marked improvement. I still had concerns, really, that what the show did was essentially take a mystery box of intrigue, dump it all on the floor, and really struggled to effectively tie it all up towards the end. And there was some plot contrivances and conveniences that I didn't really buy. For the most part, though, season 2 was a huge improvement. But I am really excited for season 3 because of this 900-year jump into the future. Discovery is now completely freed from the shackles of having to operate in the established Star Trek universe. I never had a problem with the technology, ever, for a second. In fact, I actually liked what they did with the Enterprise, with the aesthetic, technology. I didn't care. But moving it forward now means that you don't have to worry about causing any mess like that. They're in their own timeline now, but they're still in the prime, but they're in the future. They can do whatever they want, and they don't have to worry about anything. And I think that's really quite liberating.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's, it gives us an obvious, there's obviously the framing device of the fall of apparently more than just the Federation with the event known as the burn. There are some great theories floating around out there, and I think the first person I ever saw who commented that it may be related to the Omega particle was Captain Revo on Twitter, and that sounds as viable a theory as anything, given Starfleet's, they had a hard-on for the Omega particle in Voyager. So, what if research went awry? Section 31 is always up to bollocks, so could be their fault. But yeah, I think that I really think that it gives us a chance to tell completely new stories, or deeper stories than where we were, because they had an effect on continuity being where they were in the timeline, and we're embracing a side effect of that with Strange New Worlds, which I think the way that story is going to be structured, or that show is going to be structured, is going to bring a lot of opportunity there as well, with the more episodic storytelling. And I think they're showing us some taste of that with Lower Decks. It's very episodic, but there are character growth arcs that we're seeing in that show. And it's just an animated, slapdash. Whereas, Strange New Worlds is probably going to have a little more intentionality in the way those things work. But it's encouraging to see that. And I know that I don't get that vibe for season 3 of Discovery. I feel like it's still going to be more of an overall arc based on, there's obviously some conflict at play. Discovery crashes on that planet. That's a little alarming, and apparently warp drive is unable to work, which of course, puts Disco in a unique position, being a spore drive operated ship as well. So I think there's a story in how that's going to play out as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I wasn't actually aware that warp drive was not a thing in the future. Is that confirmed?
That's part of the conflict, or part of the setup, is the burn prevents warp drive from being a viable means of transport. So people, when the burn occurred, people were stranded where they were.
Okay.
Unless they had other means of superliminal speed.
Okay, so that makes complete sense that it could be the Omega particle. Now, before, I was fairly dubious as to whether it would be the Omega particle, because it is, it's just part of established Star Trek lore, but it's in one episode. It's in one episode of Voyager, and we know that we do have people writing Discovery that are big fans of Voyager and have also worked on that show as well. So it's entirely possible. But the reason I was skeptical was because Discovery always seems like a show that wants to tell its own story. Now, it would include references to past Trek greats, some elements of canon, but would largely be trying to tell its own story with with a few kind of like winking nods and things like that. So, however, the idea that the idea of the burn essentially making warp drive and warp travel inert would make complete sense, because that was the concern of the Federation and Starfleet with the Omega Directive, wasn't it? So that's very, very interesting. And I actually now, just with that nugget of information, I think that it would probably it kind of makes sense. Now, the interesting thing, because I remember this from years and years and years ago, and I can't remember where I read it. I can't remember where it was. I think it was like in the really early days of going on to like Star Trek chat forums and things like that. And I remember reading that there was this plan for an animated Star Trek show that would be placed in the far future, set at a time when warp travel was very, very difficult, nigh impossible.
All right.
So it seems like the people that are writing this show they were either the ones responsible for coming up with that idea, or have just gone to the same forums and gone, that is interesting.
That is 100% on brand for Star Trek to go back and recycle ideas. They recycled Phase 2 ideas into Season 2 of The Next Generation because of the writer's strike, which, by the way, turns out, there's a lot of trouble with some episodes in Season 2, but overall, that season is better than Season 1 and not as bad as people remember. People don't like it because it has Dr. Pulaski in it, but
You and I will argue on that one, because
we're gonna disagree there. Well, that's not what we're here to do.
No. It's all good. I mean, there are. Oh, don't change my mind.
There's some real dingers in that season that are not so great.
There are some dingers in Season 2. There are some dingers in Season 1. But there are also some. I will say this: the Season 2 of The Next Generation has the first classic episode, which is Measure of a Man, and it also has Q-Who as well.
I just ordered the Season 2 Blu-ray set for The Next Generation just to get the extended cut of The Measure of a Man. I know.
Tremendous. I
Yeah.
didn't even know there was an extended cut.
You
But
do, so there you go.
I will say this though, that season 2 of the Next Generation also had Shades of Grey, and it also had Pulaski, who no, we won't. She's horrible to data, and she's pretty much horrible to data until pretty much the end, and she's not a fave. As soon as I saw Crusher back in season 3, I was like, yes. Fantastic.
Now, season 3 sealed it all up. We get the beard, we get the stand-up collars. Everything on TNG is on point on season 3.
It was the perfect reset, and that is kind of what we're hoping for. I mean, what I'm hoping for anyway with season 3 of Discovery. You know, given the fact that we've got the new era, the new timeline, we've got some new characters, new possibilities. So. Excitement.
And that really is where Trek traditionally has found, more better than not, found the groove. Season 3 is kind of the reset season where they stumbled and fell a couple times. It happened with Enterprise. Enterprise was on log by season 4. We all know that. But season 3 was where they're like, okay, we've got this groove. We know we want to tell these stories. And let's do that. And then season 3 of Deep Space Nine, of course, by the end of that, everything is set up for the true realization of the Cisco. And then season 3 of TNG gives us everything we need with the Riker beard, stand-up collars. Everybody's looking sharp. And so, yeah, I think season 3 of Disco gives us an opportunity to continue that trend.
Absolutely. I just want to, before we do get into the kind of trailer breakdown and thoughts on that, I do want to just quickly see what some of the people in the live chats are saying, so we can kind of just respond to some of this stuff. So we've got Jonathan Parry, just want the crew to be fleshed out better. That's obviously something that we both want as well, as we mentioned. And I do think that we're going to get it. I do feel like Discovery is inherently Burnham's story and will probably always be Burnham's story, because Sonequa Martin Green is essentially the franchise player of Star Trek. There's no getting around that, and I'm not mad at that at all. She's a fantastic actress. So Burnham's story is Discovery. However, I think there's scope to continue on the work that season 2 did, and to at least tell some episodes that feature the characters. And here's a thing, right, Dan? I still don't know. I still can't remember the rest of the crew's names. Honestly, it's terrible, but it's just not in there. Season 2 did a better job of attempting to name them and have more conversations and more footage, but it still wasn't enough for me. I can't name. If you put a gun to my head and say, there's Detmer, there
and a Wilkerson.
There's what? Who?
A Wilkerson.
A Wilkerson, yep. I mean, I would have been dead. I would have been shot in the head. So there we go. But yeah, we share that, Jonathan, and hopefully we have that happen as well. Also, want to just say a quick hello to Frank as well. Hello, Frank. Hope you are well. Let's see what else we do have here. We've already gone over Grudge Cat. Lots of love for Grudge Cat. Interesting thing from Earl Grey, who is always full of some wonderful information. Discovery will have to compete with The Mandalorian. Now, I do disagree with this, because the day of TV shows competing for ratings is kind of dead. It's kind of over. And sci-fi fans, or just fandom in general, crossover, it happens all the time. I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan, so are you, Dan. We love various different sci-fi institutions. If Discovery is airing at the same time as Mandalorian, I'll watch them both, because they're on demand, so it doesn't really matter so much these days. If these were both airing exclusively on cable, it would be a completely different story. But, Mandalorian, Disney Plus, Discovery, CBS All Access, and Netflix. So I don't think there's going to be any problems there at all.
Which you folks over there should appreciate that you don't have to pay for Netflix and CBS All Access also.
Well, I am paying for CBS All Access.
That's
and
true.
VPN,
fair to
and
you.
Netflix.
Yes, fair to you, Bill.
Dude, I can't.
Since they couldn't sort out how to get lower decks across the pond before the pandemic ruined everything.
Dude, I can't wait. I don't blame Pandemic for it. They had plenty of time to get a distribution
It's
deal.
true. Yeah.
Dude, I literally can't wait to cancel my CBS All Access pass, and you know, I literally can't wait. It's going to be amazing. I actually think it's going to expire because I'm using a gift card, so it'll probably just run out, and then it'll go, "Hey, you've not paid us," and I'll go.
Right.
We've got some Georgiou love. So Old Shark, I love Georgiou, and damn good actress. Yes, of course. Fantastic Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, she's too good for Star Trek. Honestly, like,
I mean,
she's an incredible actress. As soon as she was announced in Discovery, I was like,
oh, it was getting a look regardless with her and Sonequa Martin Green too. And then, you know, it turned out that she I wish we had more, or can maybe see more of Prime Georgiou through maybe Strange New Worlds. Well, no, that timeline doesn't work out, but you know, it's a shame that we didn't learn more about her as her righteous self rather than her righteous indignant self.
Yeah, I mean, I do also agree with Earl Grey on this comment as well. I wish Prime Georgiou had never been killed. But I do feel like in the early goings of Discovery, they were going for a Game of Thrones vibe where, you know, you never know who will get killed off next. And I'm glad that they discontinued that, because that's not really what Star Trek's all about.
And she was eaten by Klingons, bro.
Oh, dude, it was absolutely brutal.
Gross.
I do want to add quickly to what I was saying earlier, because, you know, I did really struggle with Discovery season 1. However, as I said on Joe Praska's fantastic podcast, Frankenstein's podcast, that he basically tasked me. He said, Michael, I want you to watch episodes 3 to 5 of season 1 because of the tardigrade saga or the arc. And I was like, dude, do you know me? Can we not just talk about TNG or something? I sat there and I watched them back to back to back. And do you know what? I actually enjoyed it more second time round. And, you know, I feel like that is testament to the passage of time, the power of time. You know, maybe watching season 2, having a better understanding of the aesthetic, the characters and things like that. But I enjoyed it second time round way more. And, you know, and actually found the tardigrade arc to be very Star Trek-y in nature. So,
yes,
yeah,
it is. And you make an excellent point, I think, in that we've seen 7 seasons of Deep Space Nine and The Next Generation and Voyager, and we've gone with those characters from one to the end, you know, 1 to 172, or however many episodes there happen to be. Same with Enterprise. And so with that gift of time, we come back having seen their complete story, and we watch them again in those earlier stories, and we know them better, and we look for their growth in those earlier instances of themselves, and I think we come to appreciate them more. Going back to that particular story in season 1, after, you know, like you said, learning a little more about them helps sell that story more. You care about Stamets more because you know where he ends up, you know, and that's an important storytelling factor that I don't think we've been privy to until this era of on-demand streaming.
Well, and given the fact as well that Stamets was quite unlikable when we first met him as well, intentionally right, so, because exactly. You know, the guy wanted absolutely nothing to do with Burnham at all. He's like, stay away from me as far as you possibly can, but does really grow. And his relationship with Cobra as well, very natural, fantastic relationship, great depiction, and that only improved in season 2 as well. So
and very likable actors, lots.
Oh, absolutely. Also want to say hello to Rashid. Hello, Rashid. Absolutely. You heard what we were saying about Michelle Yeoh. She is absolutely fantastic.
Wait, no.
Really interesting comment here from a giant cat named Grudge. Jill, you've changed your name again. Looking forward to any connection to Calypso. That's really interesting, because Calypso, the short, takes place the same time as where we are now, roughly, give or take, I don't know, maybe a century, I'm not sure. Now, I'm going to say that what they're probably going to do here is they are probably going to fudge the dates and to fit Calypso in. The reason I say that is because I do think that those events are going to play a part in what we're going to see in season 3 in one way or another. However, I do think that people are now going to have the expectation that Discovery is going to be abandoned and they're going to get a new ship. I don't think that's going to happen. Because I think Discovery as a ship is too well known. It's too synonymous with the show now. And I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're going to get that kind of change. So I reckon what's going to happen is the Discovery is temporarily abandoned, and perhaps those events that we see in Calypso take place over a couple of months where they're not there, and then they kind of go back to ship. I don't know how that works. They might not connect it to Calypso. It might just be a thing that they just kind of decanonize and just say kind of never happened. Right. So what are your thoughts on that?
That was the first thing that came to mind when we learned that they were going to the future. I was like, well, that gives Calypso a little something more. And when I first saw, and I don't know the character's name, when I first saw him though with the cat, the gentleman who has the cat, I thought it was the same character from Calypso. I figured that's who that was going to be, but I don't think that's the same guy. Yeah, it's not. And so that kind of broke that one opportunity. It makes sense given what happened in season 2 with the data sphere that, Discovery does become sentient and self-aware. That just kind of plays into, having been plugged into so much and done so much to that point. But I would really like to see them play off of that, because it shows, I think it leans on what you said earlier, that maybe this story kind of came from something before, and they were giving themselves what they used to call a backdoor pilot. So it's like a backdoor reset opportunity to take advantage of the idea that Discovery exists that far in the future, and how did she get there?
Yeah, and like you said earlier, I think it makes total sense that the creatives would lean on some existing Star Trek. And for anybody that goes, "Oh, that's lazy," it's been done forever. It's been done for, even some TOS episodes, some classic TOS episodes were utilizing scripts that were kind of lingering around or on the blacklist. It's not a new thing. I mean, TNG's second season utilized so many scripts from Star Trek Phase 2. It's unreal. And, Enterprise was using some scripts that were passed up for Voyager. So it's just one of those things that we've always had. People have always leaned on, previous concepts. I don't see anything wrong with it. Dan, let's get into some select shots from the trailer, and I think we've landed. This is in the kind of like the sizzle reel teaser.
Yeah.
The unfurling of a very threadbare Federation flag, which is disappointing to see, to say the least. Let's see if I can get a more unfurled. There we go. Not good. Not looking good for the once mighty Federation. Only 6 stars, and I do believe that some of those are still some of the founding members of the Federation, but not a lot of stars left on that flag. What do you think caused this to happen, Dan? Speculate.
Well, like any good disaster, humanity's own hubris probably caused this. We tend to see ourselves quite exceptional, as Q likes to point out, and I wouldn't doubt that it were a experiment gone wrong, through some clandestine means, or it could be from something that was desperately trying to save whatever it was that was happening. But we're pretty good at rocking some ecological disasters, just as humans, and we spread ourselves out through an entire galaxy. So things probably went a little twisted, and I don't know that I'd be surprised, but it would just be well played if it turns out to be, something like the Omega particle. But one thing about the Federation, the current version of the Federation flag that bugs me is that there are only 3 very prominent stars, which means I always say Tellarite, because Tellarites, is underrepresented as a founding member of the Federation.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we did get some Tellarite action in Discovery, as I remember. I think we saw them in the Mirror Universe.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember correctly. It's something that I've put at the back of my mind. But we have seen them before, and I'm sure we're going to see them again. But yeah, it's interesting, and I quite like this. I mean, obviously they're going to find ways to tell stories that are relevant to the world we live in now. That's just a kind of inescapable fact. That's the Star Trek that we're going to be getting at the moment, whether you like it or not. It's interesting because I think, I mean, I don't know if they're going to do this. I would like to see potentially tying into the future that we've been seeing in Picard's first season. It does seem that Starfleet has become a bit more of a cynical organization. And if that's happening in, at the start of the 25th century, who's to say that that's not a pattern that just continues and gets progressively worse and worse and worse, and they begin to alienate member species in the Federation to the point where we get things, because Picard wanted to tell a story that kind of mirrored what was happening with Brexit, and I don't think they did it. If they intended to do it, I don't think they did it very well, because I never really got any Brexit vibes from Picard. So what if that is being injected into this storytelling here? The idea that if you get a load of sticks and group them together, difficult to break. If you get one of those sticks and you snap it, you can snap it very, very easily. We are better together. We shouldn't be leaving, despite the mistakes of, the perceived mistakes of a central organization. If we ride it together and if we stick together, the future is going to be a better place. Now, obviously, this is what happens when everybody leaves that central organization. We have 6 stars on a banner and everybody looks a little bit depressed. So right. Yeah, very, very interesting. What I've done really, really quickly is I've muted this video because I don't want CBS to ban me or anything for giving them some promotion on their third season. As with a teaser, very, very quick animation style. So I'm going to do my best to let's see if I can. So we've got Burnham. Burnham's got a new hairstyle.
Yep, she does. I saw a really great kick too. Doing some serious martial arts.
Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can find it. Really, it's so.
Oh, it's so sensitive. Yeah.
No.
There was Saru looking boss.
Let's try this again. Here we go. Ooh! So yeah, it looks like she's doing like a crescent kick.
Yeah,
it's so quick. I literally pressed my keyboard like once, and it was just like, nope, that's it. Yeah, Burnham has a new hairstyle. Interesting, because that would indicate a passage of time, and we will get into that because we do see a variety of hairstyles. I will say that passing looks like Olivia's been style-jacked.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Olivia is also Sonequa Martin Green.
I don't think. I don't think Olivia's too mad. It just gives her lots of opportunities for cosplay. So here we go. Let's see. We've got some Red Angel stuff as well happening. Oh, and there we go. We've got the brand new Discovery logo. Oh,
yes, much better. much more. So what I've noticed, let's you as a branding guy, let's take a look at this real quick. What we see here is I noticed this across is the use of that version of Star Trek and that font and that styling across the brand. Now every show has that Star Trek as the title name, and then we see with Discovery that they made that a much better, much more legible script, I think, which looks great.
I honestly couldn't stand the original logo. I mean, not because I had some negative association with the show at the time, but it was just butt ugly. It was a butt ugly logo. This is much nicer. The script is much more legible, and also they're using that classic franchise font as well, which I love using. I love that font.
That's the Treklad font.
I mean, I stole it. And to not get sued, I removed the italics as well. But absolutely beautiful. So into this trailer. Florida, so obviously CBS All Access. Hello. We have the Discovery moving forward in time, so obviously it's going to pick up presumably pretty much immediately after the events that we see in season 2, following the Red Angel into space. Well, there she is. There is the lady. And
the
here
Discovery. I was going to say the Discovery is something that I had to come to love. The design, at first sight, didn't really set with me, but I think it's a very beautiful ship.
See, my initial thoughts on the Discovery was actually fairly positive because, and the ship that we originally saw and the ship that we eventually got was very, very different. Do you remember the first reveal of the ship? It was a very poorly rendered CGI, and a lot of people were speculating that it could have been a Klingon battle cruiser, kind of spliced with a Federation starship. And back when we didn't know a lot about the show, and also back when we thought that we were going to be getting an anthology show with Brian Fuller heading it. I was very excited because I thought that we were potentially going to have. I thought that we were going to get like just after the Khitomer Accords were signed, the potential merging of technology with Starfleet and the Klingon Empire. So I was kind of really excited, and I got carried away. But as it turns out, I mean, the Discovery, as much as I wish we get more beauty shots, because you know that I love my starship porn, I came to like it. It's got a lot of characteristics that I like from my Starfleet ships. As you know, my favorite Enterprise, Dan, is
the Enterprise E.
No,
the D.
No,
shit, bro. The refit. God, where am I? I'm not even on the right show. It's my favorite too.
Are you Mirror Universe Commodore by any chance?
I must be. Yeah. Where am I even? Yeah. No, the refit, just like everybody's favorite starship should be. Jeez.
Very, very blocky though, with its nacelles, but kind of very kind of. There we go. So kind of eschewing that cylindrical design, and Discovery did that. Discovery is very boxy, obviously utilizing some original refit designs from the 70s as well. But I just kind of dug it, and I will say this: I kind of wish it wasn't bigger than the Enterprise, the original Enterprise. When you have the ships side by side, Discovery's like 3 times the size, and I was like, 3 times the size, but considerably bigger. And I was like,
right. I think it's just spread out, though, is that the surface area, because the saucer by comparison is very small.
It is. It's fair,
and it is. And this is this design, is. Ralph McQuarrie goes back to the Ralph McQuarrie design for the motion picture, and there's a really great drawing of a very similar looking ship coming into presumably what is space dock that mimics this, or is at least obviously where this design was based. So, and that square nacelle look, I'm coming to dig on that a lot. The more they use it, the more I see it, the more I'm agreeable to it. You can see some flares of it even if you look at the NX-01 design. It kind of squares and tapers a little at the end of the nacelles to kind of give you some of that vibe too.
I agree. I mean, for the most part, Discovery's design is a favorite. I'm not a big fan of some of the other ship designs in the universe. Don't get me started on the Klingon ship redesign. Not the makeup changes. I don't really care about that, but the fact that they turned most of their ships into flying dandelions didn't really. But here, what we've got is a still shot of a lot of space debris. You can see the wings of I'm assuming that's the Red Angel here, and a lot of kind of debris. What looks to me, when I first saw this with this thing here, and it kind of looks like a circle pilot. I mean, and that might be part of the planet. It looks like a ring. And the first thing I saw was potentially some sort of almost like Cardassian space dock, Deep Space Nine design. I know it's going to be, but I kind of got some vibes from that as well. But yeah, a lot of space debris, so obviously lends itself to that theory that there has been a giant interstellar disaster, which we now know is the burn, or this could be shenanigans from interstellar wars that led to the fracturing and crumbling of the Federation. So a lot of stuff
Right.
going on in these first few shots. Yeah, a lot of mess, and there's a very, very difficult to decipher discovery there. There's Saru, basically essentially an extension of what the F is going on here.
Look at that shot, though. That is very wormhole transwarpy homage to the motion picture. You know,
kind of a photon
torpedoes away.
I hope we get some of that. I hope we do. The Discovery's bridge does not look to be in good position, and we see space rocks making a return. It wouldn't be Star Trek if it wasn't for some space rocks. What else have we got here? So also we're seeing more crashing.
What a great Lower Decks joke that would be, to be like the Lower Deck guy that just comes around consoles after battles, randomly fucking putting rocks back in.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it, and I'm sure, hopefully, with Lower Decks doing so well, that we will get load more seasons of Lower Decks to come. I want to talk to you about what is going on here with the Discovery, not in a good way, which is, I remember you saying when we watched this together on the Star Trek Day panel, quite a sad sight, quite depressing to see the Discovery in the shape that it is. However, why do we fall, Master Wayne?
So that we can learn to pick ourselves back up.
There we go. But the thing that I do want to talk about, and it ties it back into Burnham's new hairstyle, the fact that in previous trailers we've seen her waiting around, and there's going to be, from what we can tell from these two trailers, that there's going to be a passage of time where she's on her own because she's so happy to be reunited with the Discovery crew. Do you think it's possible that? I mean, the theories that I have is that this planet is like an interstellar planet where time moves a little bit differently, or it could be that, I mean, because we don't see, from my knowledge anyway, from what we've seen, we don't see Discovery and the Red Angel suit in the same future shots. So could it be that what we're going to get? So the theories are interstellar planet where different regions move at a different time. That would lend itself to quite a nice episodic high concept story. So basically we have Burnham on her own, but in a different in a part of the planet where time moves differently. So that's interesting. Or the other concept that I had was very similar to what we saw in Star Trek 2009, where Spock's jellyfish flies into the riff, and then the Narada moves in, and they enter in different times. They come out different times. Do you what one seems more likely to you of those two options?
I like your first take on that there's some sort of I believe there to be some difference in the time, and you can kind of maybe see that from the scenes we saw just a moment ago where the Angel is flying, and we don't see the same shot with the Angel and Disco in the same frame, so that could be part of it. This also, I don't know if Discovery was warping into through the wormhole to cross time, or just under impulse, but obviously something's happened to disrupt drive systems, and they had to nose into this planet. Some passage of time, because Burnham's hair grows so much, that doesn't happen several months at least, for that to maybe even years. And so it'll be interesting to see. Now, thinking about that, you got me to thinking about time and where things are relative to perhaps the burn. And if we call back to Calypso, that had to be, or at least in some region of space that was unaffected, because he was able to travel warp to when he left. He took that warp shuttle. and wherever it was he was going, I think it was like a Warp 6 shuttle or something. And we see him blip out. So wonder if that, that raises that question yet again, is if that just a one-off story that we see, or is there any relativity to it at all?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the one thing that you did mention earlier, though, is the burn would cause warp issues. It wouldn't essentially render all of warp completely inert. So perhaps they just knew that they were in a sector where they could engage the warp drive, maybe. Or, the thing is just looking at Memory Alpha for some dates. I mean, in terms of continuity, there are actually no dates given. So in terms of continuity, it reads here, this may be set in the 33rd century or beyond. Either way, this episode marks the latest known events in Star Trek's fictional chronology. That's all about to change. Now, it could be that they could change that to, like we said earlier, they could kind of just fudge the dates and have this at the same time, or they could have it after. Perhaps it might be that the burn, this Omega particle, if it is the Omega particle, is something that could be undone. So lots and lots of potential. I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like they might just sweep that under the carpet. I don't know, but we will see. In terms of moving forward with this trailer, so obviously we have Discovery not looking good. We have Burnham arriving, and she dumps that suit. She gets the stuff out, and she finds out that there are people on that planet, which is presumably the same planet as the Discovery. She is super happy.
Right.
So we have Saru and Tilly.
Saru.
And so I mean, that kind of talking about what we were talking about earlier in terms of hopefully having more of the crew get a little bit more time. From what I gleaned from the trailer, though, I don't know, because it looks like it's still going to emphasize heavily on the players that have been fully established. I mean, Saru's going to get a lot of time. I'm sure Jill's going to be super happy with that as well. But Tilly as well. I mean, it was something that we were talking about recently, and Tilly's journey from this, timid, nervous cadet. She's becoming, through the events of season 2, and what we're going to see here is, she's still going to be that fun character. I'm sure she's still going to be the person that provides a lot of the comic relief, but she's becoming an effective leader. She's becoming she's becoming a valued member of this crew, and Lord knows they need it. They're in dire straits right now. So interesting to see that, and also something that's been mentioned in the chat as well, and I want to talk to you about, given the fact that we've got him on the screen. Captain of Discovery. Now, do you think Saru will become the captain? Do you think Burnham will become the captain? Or here's a theory for you. Do you think that no one will care because they're so far in the future that they are all the captain of the Discovery?
I think there needs to be some form of leadership that, there has to be a person with whom the buck will stop. And I would love for that to be Saru, because come on. And that changes a dynamic. That gives us a different dynamic in that, if Michael is going to continue to be the main character of the show, then let Saru be the captain. Just because that gives us, a show about someone who is not the captain, but we need, there needs to be someone calling the shots. And, his character came into that assertiveness after he lost his ganglia. And I think it would be a shame to waste that part of his character arc and let him be a little bit more assertive. And one of the things that I was looking up Tilly the other day for some reason, and I think I got the snippet of her Memory Alpha, and it starts off by saying Sylvia Tilly was an ambitious command candidate, and I was like, oh, that's a perfect way to describe her, ambitious.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what they do. I'm not really that fussed. I guess echo what you said. It would be nice to see Saru become the captain. It's something that we actually thought was going to happen at the end of season 1. A lot of people were campaigning for Saru to be made captain back then, the idea that Burnham's the protagonist. She's a central character no matter what, whether she's the Federation's first mutineer or, she's Georgiou's number one or Saru's number one. The idea was always that Discovery would follow the second in command rather than the captain. So I don't think it really matters. I wouldn't be surprised if they made Burnham captain. Just from the perspective of having, a female captain. It's just one of those things that's a popular thing to do at the moment. So, and if they decide to do it, then great. However, a lot of people have also been saying, well, I'd actually quite like to see an alien captain, and you don't get more alien than this gentleman here. So
exactly.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think I would mind either way. The reason why I say, would they have just, would they just kind of not name a captain? I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, though, because they do talk about this sense of family and togetherness, and they've got each other. And it might be they would still have a chain of command, they would still have that formality, but in terms of having a captain, they might just have a senior crew that just kind of make decisions. I don't know. We will see. It's the reason why we're previewing this and speculating. But in terms of other things, obviously we've got our first look here at Book. Yes. Full name Cleveland Booker. I can see why they have shortened that name to Book. Cleveland is a terrible name. And if your name is Cleveland and you're watching this, I do apologize. I don't know, it's just not a good name. But Cleveland Book, let's call him Book, played by David Ajala, a Brit. So very, very similar in terms of sound and the way he carries himself to Idris Elba. So yeah, I mean, he's a good-looking dude. So
I'm excited.
Obviously going to be very, very popular. And I like the dynamic that he has with Burnham. Obviously, it looks like it's going to be one that probably turns into a romantic relationship. Do you think?
Oh, probably. They're gonna hint at it because it's Star Trek.
It's fine. It's fine. It's Star Trek. Star Trek's always been horny. Always. For anybody, it's like it's not. It's always been horny. Watch early episodes. But yeah, so they it looks like they spend a lot of time together. And here's where Book reveals the burn. So when the galaxy took a hard left, and some of this stuff looks like it could be some flashbacks,
backstory.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously there we again see the Federation flag. Here's an interesting thing. So this is unconfirmed, and I saw this on Twitter, that someone has mentioned that this gentleman here could be an evolved Kelpian.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying there. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where that's come from. I don't know the source. So it's all just pure speculation. So take that with a pinch of salt. God, I've always wanted to say that. So someone said there could be an evolved Kelpian, and that makes sense. We're 900 years in the future, and the Kelpians were beginning an evolutionary process when we last saw them, weren't they?
Right, and who knows how much pent evolution they have as a species, having not lived to fulfill their non-prey nature, and turn into not necessarily a predator, but at least not prey when they're when their ganglia fall off. Guess that's Kelpian puberty. But having not really been allowed to age to that point, who knows what they're capable of? Who knows if they don't go through some sort of accelerated evolutionary process? But when you brought up the fact that it might be something, or they might be something, I saw perhaps a interspecies Cardassian. We got the ridges there and such, but I like your idea. Sounds more interesting. It gives us a callback to something we're familiar with.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to really quickly, I mean, this might not work. If it doesn't work and you're watching this, I do apologize. But I've just switched on the sound because the reason why it's been speculated is because of what this character says, and he's saying it to Saru. So let's just play it really quickly. Hopefully I've got the volume up. If you can't hear it, just tell me straight away. If you can hear it, just be like, ooh. But I'm going to play it. And if we do get sound, then hopefully we'll be able to kind of gauge if this could be a Kelpian. So here we go. I'm nervous.
That you were out there somewhere and that we were part of the Federation no matter what.
Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
So let's play it again because
Yeah.
it was a bit of a voiceover in the previous section. So CBS, please don't sue me. I'm giving you some promotion here. Right, here we go. Let's try this again.
I've always believed that you were out there somewhere and that we were part of the Federation no matter what.
Right. So I've always believed that you were somewhere out there.
Yeah. That sounds like a story of the one of us who made it to the Federation and so on and so forth, being handed down by, in a tribe of such. That definitely gives it a little weight.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it reminds me, and I'm gonna mention it again, and I don't know how much of it you've seen, but Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf features a huge. I mean, admittedly, Red Dwarf's time jump is 3 million years, not 900. However, in that show, 3 million years in the future, cats have evolved into a race of completely different cats, although they're still pretty much like cats. So a 900-year jump, I mean, it would, it's a bit of a jump because, we evolve over millennia. However, we don't know enough about Kelpian physiology. And, like I said, they were starting to adapt, they were starting to change. So perhaps they just evolve more quickly. But what he said is it makes it seem to me like Saru may have been deified. He might be looked at by other evolved Kelpians as their god, spiritual leader, the one who has been prophesized. And if that's the case, that adds a really interesting seasonal B plot to the whole thing. And I hope that that's not something that they just kind of relegate to a B plot in a single episode. What do you think?
Right. Well, I mean, it does make sense. His sister was not bound by the rules of Starfleet to be quiet about the events that led to Discovery leaving for the future. And she knew that's what was happening. So she very much would have said, hey, my brother will be there for us at some point in the future. And, he will return because she knew it to be a fact. So it very much makes sense that, that story would be handed down through the centuries. And who knows if Kelpians made it out into the Federation at large and they were able to, have children with other species. There may be some interspecies Kelpians out there that would still know that story. So I think it could be a little bit of all of it.
Yeah, I mean, and also, if she's been prophesizing about her brother, she's going to pass away eventually, and eventually it kind of has like a Chinese whispers effect, though, doesn't it? Where she talks about her brother Saru, and then eventually things get exaggerated and taken out of context and modified. So
I mean,
there might
2,000 years of history on this planet lends to that effect.
Absolutely. David versus Goliath, things like that. So 900 years in the future will be very, very interesting here. Here we've also got our first in-trailer look at Blue Del Barro. I hope I pronounced that right. Playing Adira. Again, hope I've got that pronounced right. So this is the first transgendered actress or actor in Star Trek, I believe. No, sorry, non-binary is Adira. So good. I mean, I love this. I love this development. We're gonna have some people go, well, I don't want to see that. It's like, piss off. Star Trek has always been about
inclusivity, bro.
Absolutely, ever since day one. Inclusivity, and I don't know how much screen time they're going to get, if they're just going to be peripheral figures, but the fact that they're in the story. We've also got Ian Alexander playing Gray, who is I believe the first transgendered. So we've got non-binary and we've got the first transgendered, and this is great for the community. We're in the community day in and day out, and representation is something that our friends have been asking for a long time, and we've been getting it, and now we're getting it even more so, and I think it's great, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely great. And one thing I sat down to kind of entertain myself on Saturday, and started watching this video game. It's called High Score. It's a video game documentary on Netflix. And I learned by watching that that the first ever national champion, Space Invaders champion in the U.S. is a transgendered woman.
Really?
And yeah, won the championship as an 18-year-old young man who was uncomfortable being that, and so is now a transgendered woman who can still play the piss out of some Space Invaders. Just incredible to watch. So I'll recommend that. There's a lot of great information in that documentary, completely not Star Trek related, other than it's time to celebrate our friends and their representation.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just something that should be. My opinion is that, I think it's great that we're getting the representation, but I think it's, we need to have that representation first, but then, we need to normalize all of this behavior. It just needs to be just something that we just take for granted. It just should be. It should just be. But I think we're moving in the right direction, and long may that continue. And it's really interesting to see what we're going to have. Now, the thing that I do want to talk about, and I don't think, I might be wrong here, but I don't think we actually get a shot of Gray in this trailer. I might be wrong. I think we do get a shot of Gray. Actually, I do. I think we do get a shot of Gray. And I'm gonna fast forward there. Oh, here, let's quickly detour for a second. This person. Now, we don't know who this person is. However, the uniform that they are wearing is very similar to the Future Federation, Future Starfleet uniform that we see in Voyager.
Indeed. Indeed. And the fancy future clothes that Daniels wears. Oh, Jet Reno, come on.
Jet Reno. And we do have what is probably my favorite line in the trailer. And, guys, I was pushing my luck probably with putting some sound on this earlier, so I'm not going to play it. If you've not seen this trailer, good luck finding it. Although I do think that somebody in the chat... Yeah, there we go. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
So here we've got Naked Book.
Oh yeah,
not complaining at all. Good looking dude. Moving on, right? So okay, here we go. So it's going to be a while before we get that shot of Gray. However, we have Philippe Georgiou, Emperor Georgiou, or the former Emperor Georgiou. Now,
bet she's got some thoughts about how to fix a broken galaxy.
Maybe she does. The thing is I am torn on Georgiou. Like people in the chat have said, they wish that Georgiou was never killed in the first place. Unfortunately, that's just the case. It's just been done. There's no getting around it. Mirror. Here's the thing, right? When you're a mirror universe character, you're pretty much irredeemable. This person had mirror universe Saru cooked, and she ate him. Yep. Like, there should be no coming back from that. We saw her eat his fret ganglia. And she has done atrocities. She has done terrible, terrible things. It's not. And from what I'm seeing here is it looks like Discovery are slowly turning her into a protagonist, a good character. And I'm here to tell you that I don't like it.
The redemption of Philippe Georgiou shall not stand.
I don't like it. In the same way, I didn't like what, and apologies if you've not seen this, I didn't like what The Walking Dead did with Negan, with Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, the first time we see him in The Walking Dead, he smashes, spoilers by the way, guys, he smashes Glenn's head into two and does some absolutely horrific things. And yet, has become this redeemed character, and I don't like it when they do it, because you want those characters to kind of meet their comeuppance. You want them to get beat. And
does Megatron get redemption? No, you don't redeem Megatron. You rip his face off.
Megatron does not become an Autobot ever.
No, ever.
So yeah. I don't. They are going to have Georgiou redeem herself. She's probably always going to be a little bit edgy because she's mirror Georgiou. It's going to happen. I'm just going to have to eat this one. And
Michael, we get Michelle Yeoh, so
we do get Michelle Yeoh, which I'm completely fine with. And also, I want to say a bit of a deep cut here. It's probably not him, but that looks like Peter Mensa Peter Mensah from 300, crack character
Oh,
actor,
right.
but I don't. It looks a bit young, probably not. But yeah, anyway, Michelle Yeoh is being told by a man,
Oh.
terrible man, that she's not supposed to be doing something. And obviously, like Prime Universe, Giorgio wouldn't take shit. So Mirror Universe, Giorgio is definitely not going to be taking any crap from anybody. So yeah. So right, here we go. Let's crack on with this. I do want to quickly address this because we've got Rachel from Geek Unicorn. She's like, boys, what about Garrick Damar? What about Kess, who came back to Voyager and tore the ship apart and killed Torres and was like, oh, my bad. I don't care. So moving forward in the trailer. So obviously that looks a little bit like Tim Russ from Tarantino movies and stuff like that. It's not. They can't afford Tim Russ. So now we've got Burnham back on the bridge. We've got Spore Drive. We've got some interesting. We've got Iron Man. That's a nice shot. I like that.
So I love the Spore Drive effect because when Disco leaves, it drops down, and when she arrives, it drops in from the top every time. It's a very consistent, cool effect.
Yeah, I'm there for it. Also, lens flares.
Yeah. JJ, it's nice to see.
I love me some.
And that is tomorrow's or this week's episode of The Lower Decks is lens flares.
Come join us on Friday. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Right. Oh, here we go. There we go. Perfect. Look at that pausing skill. Look at that pausing skill. So this is Ian Alexander. This is Gray, and Trill. And there is a rumor again. Unconfirmed rumor.
Even though, don't tease me, bro.
This could be a future incarnation of Dax.
Yeah, he did stop counting at 300.
I would. Yeah, I mean the thing is we've got absolutely no confirmation that the symbiote lives.
We don't know their lifespan.
We don't know. It could be 2,000 years. We have absolutely no idea. As a very famous character in Star Trek says, shut up. As a very famous character in Star Trek always says, they always would like to believe that there are possibilities. So, what were you going to say?
I just love that that this character is a Trill, represented by this actor. Because so many people had to find that representation in the Trill, in Jadzia, and maybe to a lesser degree Esri, but they had to find themselves, and here we are being able to see them, part of our story front and center, and that's a great moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Remains to be seen what happens with that. And I mean, at first, when they said it could be Dax, I was kind of again a little bit skeptical. I was like, I don't know. I mean, do they need to do that? Is that potentially just a tactic to try and win over some people that don't like the show? I want the show to just win people over, organically, and I think that it's going to happen with the season. We've got essentially 3 minutes of footage to go through, but I just think that with what the show's doing, I think it's going to win over a lot more people if they fix that marketing game up as well. But yeah, very excited to see what happens with Gray, and great to have those characters in there. Always good to have some fresh acting blood in. It obviously makes the convention circuit really exciting again, with them just announcing today that they're moving DST London to November 2021, which makes sense. Because we can't all go and stand in halls at the moment. So hopefully in 2021 we can. So different. Let's move on. We've not got long left on this trailer. I want to see if there's any other footage that we can. This looks nice. Yeah. Interesting little thing here. Now that looks like the interior of the Discovery. Mm-hmm. We've got these kind of angular beams. We've got the metallic finish, but we can see now. I mean, I could be completely wrong here. They could just be close to a sun. Close to a sun. That looks like they're on a planet, though. It looks like they're on the planet. So it's either the Discovery is in that same crashed position from the beginning of the of this trailer, or I'm completely wrong, and they are actually in space, and that's just a sun. That's just sunlight pouring in. What do you reckon?
It's I when she started talking about maybe they're on a plant, I just kept looking at that tree in the window and thinking, why wouldn't that be in the hydroponics bay? Unless they're just decorating. So maybe that's just a point to overthink it, but it's definitely getting some sunlight. So who knows?
It definitely is getting some photosynthesis. It's interesting. Or it's Saru's. I mean, we know Saru has quite a lot of vegetation in his quarters, so they could just be in his quarters. But true. we've got other. It looks like it's a meeting of the senior staff or bridge crew anyway. We've also got Yum Yum as well, who is there. I can't remember her name. So yeah, I mean, interesting stuff there. They're going to be playing up the whole family tropes as well, and I think we're approaching this this lovely here interesting again quite good with the pausing trigger there. We've got Vulcan. We've got a Vulcan,
and we are in space.
And we're definitely in space, and I'm not sure what planet that is, because that doesn't look like Earth unless there's been some ecological change in 900 years, which makes complete sense.
Right.
But
as Daniel says, depends on what you call Earth.
Yes, there we go. I mean, we are actually
depends on what you call human.
We're actually after Daniel's time now as well. Yeah. So the thing that I've got here, obviously this is going to be some sort of, this could be a Federation representative telling Saru that they're okay to continue their mission of exploration. The one thing here is very, very difficult to discern, but that looks to me like the new comm badge. So this could be at the end of the resolution of the the events that need to be solved before they can go and carry on being Discovery. So it's interesting that could be a Federation diplomat thanking Saru for saving that planet maybe, and saying, yeah, you don't have to change into, because here's the thing, we've already seen the future uniforms. Why wouldn't they be changing into the future uniforms? It doesn't look like that's going to be happening. So maybe this Vulcan person is perhaps she makes the clothes and she goes, do you know what, I haven't got time to make any more uniforms. I need to spend my time working on making clothes for other Federation citizens, and just keep wearing your clothes. They look fine. Very, very 900 years out of fashion, but whatever. I haven't got time.
It's so old, it's new again.
Absolutely. There we go.
Hipster Saru.
Yeah. There we have also Adira as well. I hope it's Adira. Otherwise, I've just been pronouncing their name wrong. Here we go. So new combat. I mean, new combat for 2 seconds. We've got Book doing a sexy flip and just generally looking really good.
Shake weight.
And Andorians.
Oh, fuzzy Andorians. We've never seen Andorians with a beard before.
Andorians with a beard. There we go. Look at that. Look at that terrible resolution there. Yeah. So not Shran. But if they really want to win some, if they want to rub me up the right way, just make that an ancestor of Shran. There we go.
Shran, McShran of Clan McShran.
So here we've got probably our best look of the new comm badge. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I like the plain Delta was nice. Can't you just drop some Bluetooth in that and call it a day?
It looks to me, it looks very similar to the Bajoran insignia. But the thing is what I am going to do and what Discovery has forced me to do, and what I'm now happy with, is the fact that Discovery over the course of the last 3 years has forced me to look at Star Trek in a different way. For better or for worse. There are things that I like, there are things that I don't like. Yum yum. This new comm badge is it's a reflection. It is the cipher of this brave new world that they're going to have to learn to explore, and we're going to have to learn to explore that with them as well. So it means that we don't get sexy deltas, we get a different type of delta. So hey man, it's Star Trek. It's still Star Trek. It's in the title.
It's still Star Trek.
So what else have we got? We've got this tree.
I love this tree.
Tilly definitely loves this tree. I don't even look at my wife like she looks at this tree.
I had a friend who's recently picked up disco. He's going through, I think, for the first time. So he's become a very large Tilly fan. And when I told him how Mary Weissman was treated when the show first premiered, he was ready to go fight. He was like, point me in the direction in which I need to go. He was ready to take up arms for her. And I just thought it was the cutest. Yeah, she was given a hard time for her shape, which I don't know what anyone's talking about. But whatever, man. She's adorable to me, and I hope it's okay to still say that. I don't want to, get myself in trouble or anything. But I think Tilly as a character is just me. I would be that excited to be there.
I don't know why you'd get in trouble for saying something like that, because and if you did, that's just ridiculous. She is a great character. She is, like I said earlier, she's she's the main source of comic relief. She is a lovable character, and she is adorable. She emits so much friendliness, and if that story is true and she was being given crap for her weight, then the thing is we're not, Hollywood and film TV productions, they sound hard, they sound horrible. This isn't a new development. We've had this in over the years. I mean, we've heard from Terry Farrell, the problems that she had when doing Deep Space Nine. So it's not new, and it looks like hopefully. I mean, Tilly is just being released. She's being left to her own devices, and she looks happy. I mean, she's hugging that tree. She looks super happy, and I'm happy that we're getting more Tilly as well. So I'm
wondering if that's not Earth.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It could be. I mean, the thing is, it looks very Earth-like, doesn't it? But at the same time, I mean, what?
So does every planet in Star Trek.
Yeah. Why are they all walking towards that one tree? I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that we do get. One of the things that I liked about season 2 of Discovery is earlier on, we got a couple of episodes that you would consider to be fairly standalone,
right?
Fairly episodic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what if this tree is an alien tree that makes people love the tree? And,
it's just the tree. It's the hugging tree.
Yeah, it's the hugging tree, and it's got secret ulterior motives to spread its seed to other planets and things like that. And it's secretly an evil tree.
Star Trek.
Probably not. They're probably on Earth. She's been away for so long, and she's just happy to be on Earth. Maybe. But
I want to be that happy someday. That content. That looks like contentment.
I honestly, I mean, guys, if you're still watching this and you're watching this on replay, meet someone that looks at you like Tilly looks at this tree, because it's just pure love, pure love. She even gave it a little stroke there as well.
She did.
And we've got Burnham doing some sort of rally. We've got a hug.
A group hug. We can't do that anymore.
Hug in space. We can't do that. No. We can't do that. No, thanks for reminding me. Lots of hugs. That seems to me like that's the reunion of Burnham on Discovery. So cool. They finally do that. This is interesting. What's this ship?
That ship, yeah.
That looks like the Millennium Falcon.
Or the Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
I thought of both of those.
So I'm assuming my theory here is, and it's not really a stretch, is this is Book's ship. And Book is the character that's responsible for getting Burnham back to Discovery. So, so I guess, I mean, unless he was also in the same position where he was, so they're saying we go with the theory that planet has different time zones and time moves differently. Perhaps he had to eject from his ship, and he was trying to find his ship. So him and Burnham got together to find it, and maybe that's what was responsible for all those shenanigans on the planet. Perhaps they had to battle to get their way to the ship, and then finally, when they were at the ship, they were able to go and rendezvous, or go and essentially perhaps even tow Discovery out of the mess that was in. So here's if we watch this in a couple of weeks' time and all this happens, then sorry.
Spoilers.
All the spoilers. But right, let's we're pretty much at the end. So flotation. So we had
some space fight pew pew.
Yeah, and we also had the kiss between Burnham and Book, which we knew was going to happen. I'm going to see if I can get the pause right. Oh, that's a cool little freeze.
That is
We
a
got
cool
Andorian.
spot.
We got an Andorian. That looks like a Cardassian.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just going based on these here. It
These
might not be.
spoon-like ridges on his forehead.
So yeah, this is what I'm assuming. They're essentially trying to fight their way to the ship. So again, pure speculation here. I'm going to try and pause it on the Trill tank. That didn't even work. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that to me doesn't look like Burnham. That looks
Nope.
like
That's Gray.
Adira. Sorry, Gray, or maybe somebody else.
True.
Yeah,
But it is a joining tank.
Yeah, it is. It is. So probably Gray. I love how I'm like turning my head to try and work it out.
Yeah,
yeah. So there we go. Got that pause there. Saru, another sign of you can't really tell. Is that 4 for the captain? Because
they're not going to let us see. We'd have to zoom in. I'll have to zoom in on that.
I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to see if I can zoom in. It's not. It's just zoom. Look,
happening.
it's just zoom in the
zoom in the
text.
interface.
Boo, boo. So there we go. So I can't tell. That looks to me like that might be another one, but this is just pure speculation. We're just picking this trailer apart now. So engage, and then we get the kiss. We get Sherwood Forest blown up. We got fist pump. And I am going to put the sound on for this because I think this is my favorite line of the trailer. And again, CBS, please go easy on me.
I'm trying to hurt nothing.
Right, here we go.
It wouldn't be worth it.
Oh, wait, so hang on a second. Let's just get some more sound in here.
We have work to do. But if
Things were easy.
It wouldn't be worth it.
If things were easy, it wouldn't be worth it. My word, is that a metaphor for the show? It's there we go. So Star Trek Discovery Season 3. We've just spent the last hour picking apart that 2-minute trailer. I hope that you guys liked that. But before we do go, though, I guess what we can do is we can talk a little bit more about some other takeaways from that trailer, and other little bits and pieces for Discovery. I mean, closing kind of remarks, Dan.
I'm still excited. I mean, every time I see it, I get a little more pumped. There's something more to see. I'm fascinated by the arm cannons. I guess that's maybe like a wristband or something. I like the way that seems to work. Who doesn't want like an instant phaser right there at the ready? That seems cool. But I have to say. There's never been more Trek in production or on the way than we have right now, and it's really great time to be a part of the franchise, to be enjoying it with friends in a way never possible before, to have so many varying opinions about what it is we see, what it is we're going to see, and what it is we want to see. And I mean, coming from an age when connecting with other Trek fans was maybe your two friends in high school and you guys talked about it when nobody would make fun of you, to you and I celebrating it with people who are willing to watch us watch a trailer on the internet. How can you not be excited for a new Star Trek? And if Discovery is not your bag, good news. There's more Trek coming. But again, I'll say, with the end of season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, we'll celebrate the 800th episode of Star Trek overall. So regardless of your take on that, it's still an impressive milestone for the franchise overall.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like I've said earlier, and I've said on a number of occasions, and, it's one of those things that Discovery will, up until this point has not been my favorite Star Trek show, far from it. However, I can see positives. There have been some good things that this show has given us. The biggest positive really being the Discovery has, reinvigorated the franchise, reinvigorated the fan community, has brought some new people in who I call friends, people who discovered Star Trek through Discovery. And
Exactly.
I think that that's absolutely fantastic. And, if Discovery is your favorite show, tremendous. I think that there is a lot to love about the show. And, I remain very optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic that Discovery Season 3 will be the season where where it all kind of just happens. It all fits into place, and the show, like I said, grows the beard. We've got a long way. We've got a long way to go yet, though. We've got 13 episodes in season 3? Yeah, 13 episodes, season 3. I got excited about season 2 before it aired, and I was disappointed with some of the things that we got in there. So it remains to be seen. We are going to be doing, as we have done with Lower Decks, a weekly breakdown roundtable discussion of each episode. And so we will be doing that. So join us each and every week on Friday. And Dan, is there anything else you want to say before we sail off into the sunset?
No, as always, it's a pleasure to get to dish on Star Trek with you. It's wonderful to have our friends join us in the chat and speculate along with us, and be here to cheer us on. And as always, come back and see us again on Friday so we can talk about the next episode of Lower Decks. I look forward to that every week.
Tremendous. All right. Well, Dan, always a pleasure, my friend. And to you who have joined us live, thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like this video. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. I'm attempting to reach 500 subs by the end of October. I'm currently at about 374, I think. So still some work to do, but with your help, I can get there. So thank you so much. If you're watching this on replay and you've made it this far, thank you so much. And we do this pretty much every week. Like I said, we do the live streams where we break down episodes, but there is so much more on this YouTube channel that is in the pipeline. Very, very exciting times, not only for Star Trek, but for me as well. So thank you for being part of this journey. To you, the Commodore Dan Decker, I'm very, very grateful. So thank you very much. And to you viewers, thank you for joining. We'll see you. We'll see you to talk about Discovery very soon. But do join us this coming Friday at 9 o'clock BST, 4 p.m. in the East for the breakdown of the upcoming 9th episode of Lower Decks. Until then, everybody, stay happy, stay safe, stay well, and live long and prosper.